Hello and good evening and welcome to Radio Armbar episode 3. We are live on armbarsociety.eu and now on iTunes, and would like to invite you to sit back, relax, grab a cup of whatever it is you enjoy to drink and bathe yourself in the soothing waves of this E-Fed related topics that we've got set up for discussion tonight. We have a very special show set in store, so please join me in welcoming my fellow members of the ship we are set to sail the 7 seas of e-wrestling with. First off, we have my main man, my CNW broadcast colleague and regular show contributor, Mr. Matt the Doctor. How are you tonight, sir?
Hello, I'm doing pretty good, doing pretty well. I've had about 2.5 hours of sleep, and I mean, really, do you need any more?
I think I've made up for you today. I've slept all day. I don't get it. It's a strange world, but either way, of course, this week we have not one, but two. Wait, I made that joke last week, but either way, we have 2 special guests this week, and a very special themed episode. Would you please first join me in welcoming Mr. TBK?
Bonjour.
Bonjour et vous. And of course, what episode would be complete without our final member of the team tonight? He is the one, the only, Mr. Girlyname.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, God, Girly's broadcasting from the Dalek system.
He's become a robot.
Yeah, I think
I'm sorry.
It's cool. I think it's
cool.
coffee shop internet and everything. So, yeah, Girl
It's
is
cool, man.
broadcasting from the Pro Wrestling Broadcasting Station, also known as a coffee shop in Texas somewhere. So, either way, as you're all probably aware, Girlyname and TBK are the master minds behind the wonderful weekly show known as Pro Wrestling. So this week we'd like to dissect their minds, see what the hell goes on in there, just get a general chit-chat about what goes on in Pro Wrestling production, also their views on e-wrestling and otherwise. And first up, let's move on to, before we move on to the juicy section of the podcast, I should say, I'd like to bring you all back to Rose episode 17, which happened in the past week or so. I must say, props to a Mr. Tiffy Lockhart, who unfortunately cannot join us tonight because he's at this thing called WrestleMania. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of WrestleMania?
What's a WrestleMania?
What is a WrestleMania? That is a good question. Anyway, a lot of things happened on Row 17 with the administration declaring all-out war on the union after Cade Murdoch powerbombed Scurries off of the stage to start off the show, and the show only continued on strong from there. Return of Warcourt, the induction of Crypto into Tufu, Shaman being cost or lost by the administration by playing Groudon's theme and Titantron to allow Atori the win. Shell Sweetie and Aaron Toyota became the number 1 contenders for the Tag Team Championships. Girly picked up the win in the main event, which once again ended in chaos, this time though with the Union standing tall. And I wasn't kidding when I said a lot of things happened. So let's go to our panel, and first up, let's get all the thoughts of Rose from Matt.
Well, I thought it was a very, very good show this week. I mean, it usually is. Text commentary still never fails to impress. Same with Tiffy's editing. I gotta say, when Groudon's theme music hit during Shaman's match, I just thought that was very clever way of, just really allowing her to lose to someone like Atori, but still look strong in a lot of ways. And it was also just a very exciting moment. And I mean, on a personal level, it was. I mean, that match between Duck and BFFs and Aaron Toyota and Shell Sweetie was fantastic. I mean, it was a long match, but there was just not a dull moment in it, if you ask me. Yeah, that was really great. Of course, I like 2-1. Yeah. So if we had lost, you would have had no complaints from me.
Yeah, and the same with me. It was a really good match just through and through, all the way from start to end. It just really, like you say, even though it was a long match, it just delivered constantly. It kept you involved, it kept you entertained, and it kept you tense, and that is a really, really hard thing to do with a long match, especially in a tag team match.
Definitely.
And, mad props to Tiffy for that one. So, any other thoughts on Rose?
Yeah, speaking of tag teams, we saw Crypto being inducted into Tufu, or being used as the secret Tufu, or the new Tufu apprentice. I thought that was hilarious. Mm-hmm. I just think that's a great idea, and I'm really hoping it becomes more of a regular thing. Both Crypto and Emoto-chan, I think, really, they need something to kind of put some focus on them.
Yes.
Definitely. They're both really good talents, and I'd like to see them, have a bit more to work with. And I think that really can give them both something to work with, and it's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to see collab promos, more regular tag teaming, on a personal level. So
excellent. So, of course, as well, on our panel here tonight, I'd like to hear the thoughts from Monsieur TBK. What were your thoughts on Rose, sir?
Well, I have to agree with a lot of things Matt said. For example, the Duck and BFFs match. That one was really, really good. Props to Tiffy for just both that and the just amazing editing for the little roll-up by Tori. I was kind of surprised how well that flowed together.
Mm-hmm.
To add on to it, I would say that I wanted to discuss two things. First of all, what's the name of Cole's character again? Calissa, I think?
Calissa.
Yeah. She is terrific. I really like the idea of the character as well as the look.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just really hoping that she'll continue doing things in Rose, as well as I'm really happy for the formation of the new tag team, the Elite Beat Divas.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I was always a fan of Lola Jazz. I was just trying to find out where's her purpose, and I think this one is really just something she can stick to.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I saw that apparently Tiffy made the Alta tires for the Elite Beat Divas, so that's great.
Because I think we can all appreciate a good Elite Beat Agents reference.
Yeah, most definitely. And like you were saying, I think Calissa's just really filling a void that needed to be filled in Rose, just as I think we said last time we were on the air. Calissa is that big, scary bitch, I guess, for lack of a better term.
Unrelated, I think I hear dying cats in the background.
Dying cats?
Well, I hear somebody singing pretty poorly.
I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if that's anything. Anyway, so anything else you'd like to add, TBK, other than dying cats?
No, I'm pretty sure that dying cats is just enough.
Okay.
That and Alyssa.
You can't really go wrong with some dying cats.
So excellent.
Anyways.
And I'd like to hear, assuming that he is still with us, from the Rose champion, him or herself, I suppose. Girlyname, you still with us, sir?
Oh yeah, no, I am.
Excellent.
I really enjoyed this episode of Rose. Something that I think Tiffy does really well is balancing the power between these two groups. First of all, I'm overjoyed to have Girly back as a active competitor in any Fed, and for her to be used the way she has really been, a blessing from Tiffy. I really am appreciative of everything that he's done for the character and how big he's made her. Because I've been having the character return recently, and I don't feel like the reception that she's getting would ever be there if it wasn't for Tiffy making her into such a big deal in his company. Mm-hmm. And I really liked seeing her kind of get a bit of comeuppance at the end of the episode. I really liked seeing that she's being played off as, the top dog in this big, deal, and the main eventer that this company was supposed to have. And it's nice to see the faces in this feud stepping up and saying, well, we don't believe that's true, and we're the people who are building this company, and to kind of stand tall above this person who's really been injected in and built up as this big deal that these people, I think at this point, are kind of feeling she really isn't. Mm-hmm. It's really nice to see that. I don't know.
It's a really good storyline, I have to say. And
It by far my favorite storyline that I've been involved in since joining AES.
Wow, that's
wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty big tribute to give it.
Wow.
It's a pretty big accolade, I guess, if that's the right word. And also, I remember...
Accolade?
Accolade, does
yes.
that say? Probably
yes,
some kind of French car or something. Anyway, so I mean, as well, Girly, I wanted to ask you about that. I remember you were saying as well that you always liked the storytelling that was going on in Rose, and you always say that Tiffy tells such a good story in Rose. And yeah, I suppose that adds on to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that Tiffy is the guy who really raised the bar in terms of storytelling in all of AES. Sorry that I know I'm being a little more soft spoken than normal. I'm just trying to keep my conversation to myself.
Right.
It's cool, man.
But no, I really like what Tiffy does. I think that he really showed that you can have a lot of progression, and something that I love that he does is, you know, when Rose first started out, it had a bunch of kind of jokish characters that were kind of these one note. Like, you didn't really expect a lot of development out of them, but he's really been able to take all of them and turn them into much bigger characters than I think a lot of people originally envisioned. And a lot of people have kind of stepped out of these very confining gimmicks and turned themselves into people who actually seem to have legitimate futures in not only Rose but the rest of AES. Like the female Randy Orton. I can't remember her name right now.
Orion.
Yeah, when she started out as just the female Randy Orton character, and now she's kind of turning into this this persona that's, it's bigger than that. She's no longer the Randy Orton, Rule 63 character. She's her own person.
Mm-hmm. That's a great point, and I do agree completely. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in Rose. I mean, even personally, just when I first started doing my own gimmick in Rose Show Sweetie, I kind of had this 2D character set in mind, and what it's become is something far, far beyond anything I really had any control of, and I think everyone else in this group can agree, anyone else that's listening as well can agree, that anything in Rose that's happened in terms of stories really made everyone step up this bar, which is absolutely fantastic, because I know that we all are very capable. Some really complex characters, some really great writing and just creativity. And I think Rose as a whole is just great for that, because it's just made really everyone step up their game. Maybe it's because of the unfamiliarity of females, and maybe, anything else. And I think next time that we may or may not have Tiffy on this broadcast, that's something that I want us to go into. It's just the difference of just like writing a female versus a male. And I think maybe that is it, but either way, it is, kept its standard as a good show. Really glad it exists, really.
It's cool to see a female division built through it.
And taken seriously as well. That was the main thing. Anything else from you, gentlemen?
No.
Yeah. I'll say that, to add on to, it's cool to see a female division built and taken seriously. It's cool to see one that has just such a diverse... Just the diversity in characters is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it's really amazing that, it's not just a fed of herder sex appeal.
Yeah.
It's a fed of legitimate characters and gimmicks, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think when Rose first started, anyone really knew, what to expect. But now it's just really just become one of the top feds on the site, I'd say.
Yeah, it really has. And I mean, it's something that I look to a lot in terms of inspiration and just things to draw off, and I just think that, man, I have to compete with this shit. I watch Rose, I watch Rose 17, and I was sat there and I was like, man, I have to follow this up in terms of quality. It's that kind of thing, and I think that, it's really made everyone step up the game, and I really agree that, it's really made everyone just come into their own. And like you say, it's one of the big feds on the site, and for a reason, and yeah. And speaking of big feds on the site, see, there we go, I'm learning.
Big!
Yes, now we're really going to go into the meat and potatoes of the matter, since the other show to happen since the last on air. Well, gentlemen, time for us to get our fan mango cards and judge you not so silently as ProRes and their stellar pay-per-view known as Showtime, baby. Now, I don't think I'm going to run down the card, as like I did with Rose, due to our guest here this evening. I think we'll probably end up going and talking about some of the stuff that happens, but apparently, I want LOL! Yeah, thank you. Either way, it was a great show up and down, and I'd like to throw it over first to Matt. What did you think of Showtime?
Oh, man. Match-wise, man, I gotta say, it might have been one of Pro Wrestling's just best shows top to bottom in terms of just sheer quality of the matches.
Yes.
Just that barroom brawl was insane. Cole Scorpio and Chris O'Derrick.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh man, that thing was brutal. And, I mean, I gotta say, on a personal level, it was awesome seeing Action Jackson, pick up a victory. It's just been great fun having him back in the company, or having him back in wrestling, in e-wrestling, and just being used so well.
Mm-hmm.
And man, just that final match between Sir Dan and Miles King was,
oh my god,
yeah, that was just really just gripping stuff, on the edge of your seat kind of stuff. That's the thing that's how it was with pretty much all of the matches. It was really just so many were so up in the air. I was just on the edge of my seat for pretty much all of them. Mm-hmm. It was just crazy, really. And I have to say, something I thought was really cool was Dustin Delta's return, because I had an inkling that it would happen, but I kind of forgot about it. Uh-huh. And then, so when it happened, it was really cool. Because, I mean, it's been really cool to have Dustin Delta back. So to see kind of this, in a lot of ways, it's really cool to see who was kind of had, I guess, to see this legitimate storyline come out of this, I guess, joke, in a way. Not so much the character himself, but how he was champion for a long time. Like, I just find that so cool that he's kind of coming out and, challenging for the championship, and the championship that used to be his, quote unquote. Like, I don't know, man. Something about the simplicity of that just really struck a chord with me.
And it's something as well, which is something that I know Girly likes, is that long burn storyline. It's that kind of something that we can draw back to, like something that happened a long time ago, which in E-Feds is pretty great, just because everything moves at like 3 times as fast in E-Feds as it does in real wrestling. So for something like that, well, we can go, oh yeah, this is drawn back to one storyline which happened like 9 months ago. It's pretty great.
Oh man, it might.
Yeah. As a wild
and also, on another personal note, Ego Tripping Death Squad versus Dance Party 95 was just, man, high paced, high action. Oh man, I can't think of a better tag team match, really. That was just crazy. It was crazy good, and I mean, it's so awesome to see Ego Tripping Death Squad with the belts again, just because, well, this was their first run as a real team, because in WWA they never actually won the belts, I think. So it's just really, really cool.
They lost every single show to Magnum Dick.
Yep, every single show to Magnum.
Because Beardy forgot to record the one in which they won.
The one where they won. So he recorded them losing 5 times and had it 5 episodes in a row. That's the real story as to why Ego Tripping Death Squad never won the tag titles in WWA. It's true. You can ask him.
I remember him talking about that in the chats.
Yep.
Like, every week, everyone would just be pissed off, and
because that Magnum Dick retained.
That is
so
amazing.
It's just awesome to see him back as a full-time team. He finally win belts, and man, I was looking at the title history. God, Dance Party was they were champs for like over 200 days, something like that.
Yeah, they were. They had our longest reign out of any belt that we've ever had.
That's just crazy, man. Considering they started as jokes who were meant to lose, it means a lot, man. Thank you so much for just putting your faith in me and in the team, and it was a great run.
TBK booked most of their tag team runs, so thank him for that one.
Thank you, both of you.
So,
it's been a pleasure.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'd like to move it on, and I'd like to actually bring it over to Girly. And Girly, first off, what did you think of your own show? Do you have any funny production stories, like that one with Beardy? And of course, what was your favourite match?
Well, in terms of production, I know that there were actually some botches on my part during the show. I forgot to edit a couple things, but Besides that, like I forgot to edit like the play into the outro and stuff like that. But other than that, production botches. While I was recording the show, I think the ones that happened the most actually happened during what ended up being my favorite match at the end of it, which was Cole Scorpio versus Chris Oderick. In case anyone was unaware, I was actually playing as Cole Scorpio during that match, and I had to, because otherwise there's no way to get them in the bar. Well, it turns out that the AI of No Mercy hates being backstage. So I would whip like Oderick backstage, and I'd finally get him in the bar, and we'd fight in the bar for like 2 minutes, and then he'd whip me out of the bar, and he'd whip me back to the ring. So I started recording and I had, I record all these matches for these big shows a lot. I'm already recording matches for our next pay-per-view that I know are on the show. I've already started trying to get recordings of it, because I record each of the matches, especially for pay-per-views, at least probably like a minimum of like 15 times.
Wow.
Yeah, I put a lot of hours into it. Sometimes I get matches that are just like, oh, that works, and the matches themselves, I a lot of times don't let them end if it's just obvious I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
But with the Cole Scorpio versus Chris Oderick match, I actually started recording that at midnight the night before showtime, and I didn't get a recording that I could use until 10 a.m.
Wow.
the day of showtime.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Because Chris Oderick was just such an asshole and would not fight in that bar.
That is.
No, but
yeah, go on.
Insane, man.
Oh. That's pretty much the kind of thing I was wanting to hear. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
I can speak from experience. Just the AI in wrestling games is horrible to work with.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Oh man, anything else you want to add? A favourite match? Oh, would
favorite...
be that one, yeah?
Yeah, but that just might be because I was really worried about how it was going to be received, and it ended up being a lot better than I even remembered it being. Favorite match overall on the whole show, I don't know, it might have been Pastor Lincoln versus Super Plexington, just because of how big of characters they are, but other than that, no, probably Cole Scorpio versus Chris Oderick.
Excellent. Yeah, I really liked Pastor Lincoln versus Superplex. That went on. Every time it came to a false finish, was like on the edge of my seat. It was really, really close. It was quite well done. Okay, so our last member of the panel here tonight, finally, TBK. What do you have to say about your side of pro wrestling? Any stories, thoughts, your favourite match, etc.?
I would say that Cole Scorpio versus Chris Oderick was also my favorite match. Just all those spots. I was kind of surprised. The way he managed to get everything to work just so perfectly into a storyline.
Yeah.
It's funny. When you look at the third month of ProRes, when I was originally booking this is not even close to, in the first draft, to what ended up happening. There's a total of 2 matches that made it to the final product, which was Sir Dan versus Miles King and Super Plexington versus Pastor Lincoln.
Right.
Does anyone hear laughing?
Yeah, I think it's good in the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Alright.
no, it's me in the back. Other people in the coffee shop.
They're
I
listening,
can
to, the,
unplug
they're
my
listening to
mic.
the podcast and they're laughing at our jokes. That's how good we are.
Yes.
They're
But
listening
go on,
to us right
TBK,
now.
continue.
Just to show how different this show might have been, I think I might as well just read this off.
Right, so
Hear
this
it.
is the original card?
Yes.
Okay, go on.
Jiro Kurotsu versus Stakase King.
Wow.
Dingo Patterson versus Groudon.
Right.
Aaron Toyota versus Dark Matrix.
What?
Fatty McYardtard versus Joey Francis. Cardboard title match. I'm not going to mention it for reasons.
Okay.
Richie Stevens versus Lotus Dragon for the Iron Man Championship.
Right, yeah, I could kind of see that happening, okay.
Dance Party 95 versus the Dubsteppers. And then
that
the
would
last...
be pretty great.
That would have been... Well, that did happen.
Yes, yeah, so...
Chris O'Derrick versus El Beardy. And I'm not going to count the last two matches, but the last one that didn't make it to the card, of all things, ended up being Ego Tripping Death Squad versus Pink and Power. I think that one might have actually been kind of cool had we not been really heelish around that time, so...
Yeah, that would have been the case of a heel thing again, you know.
So, really, how did Bob Sagat come into the picture? Richie Stevens versus Bob Sagat.
Here's the thing. I actually wanted to involve punkers some way into it, but I didn't really want to... There's a reason I'm sort of holding off on Jacob Cass for a storyline involving the whole title, which is why I've just been sort of having him lose his shots several times.
Right.
If you haven't noticed
Jacob
that.
Cass.
Yes, very. I feel bad for Jacob Cass. But yeah, I approached Punker with it because the idea sort of came to me right before Aces, because I was just in kind of a derpy mood. I was like, hey, you know what? He's facing Adon. What if he faces Bob Sagat soon instead?
So is Bob Sagat going to be a Pro Wrestling regular now, or just was it just a guest spot?
He was a guest spot. I thought it would be cool guest person to put on for a while.
Oh yeah, it was a really cool match.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was great seeing. It's always great seeing people who are not only based in other games. So like Bob Sagat is usually, you see him in SAPWs in Fire Pro, and then maybe in the cutscenes you'll see him in W12 or 13. So it's great, seeing him in Mercyford.
And it was a really cool.
It was actually pretty surprising how you actually were actually able to have the eye patch on the caw this time.
Yeah. Yeah. I love cameos, so it was great seeing him, and it was a really good match.
Yeah, I love cameos, obviously. I made the Atari call just for what was it, like a 1 minute entrance? I spent about an hour making the call.
Yeah, you had to take a good look. It got you sprung, got you hooked.
It most certainly did. So, any other thoughts from the three of you before we move on?
Watch ProRes.
Watch ProRes. Cool.
Okay, I will.
I really enjoyed how Showtime turned out, but I think the things coming up will actually blow it out of the water.
Ooh.
Just like...
Oh yeah, no,
wow.
dude. No, the next big show I think is probably going to blow it out of the water.
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Big claims.
Yeah, that is something big. You got to live up to. Just a claim like that, you have really got to try and blow us out of the water, and I'm going to hold you.
I bet
to
you
that.
can.
Yes.
Considering a few things that I know may or may not be on the horizon.
Do you have a name for the next show?
Not at the moment, admittedly.
Okay, so just the metaphorical Pro Wrestling next pay-per-view we should all look forward to, because I have heard directly from the horses' mouths that it's going to be good. So, continuing on tonight, of course, we actually did have something else happen this week that was not really technically a show, but rather the announcement of a show. Now we ran out of showtime. I'd like to bring us into something else. That would be Armbar Eurovision. This week, the Super Show forum was finally unveiled, with Armbar Eurovision being the culprit behind the Nexus, I guess. But either way, Trippy has a massive show lined up with some teams already being announced, including... Deep breaths. Hold on. Okay, we ready? Okay, the Human Cyclones, Rufus and Zangief. CNW Tag Team Champions Cole Scorpio and Dirk Derrick, the Kiwi Shield, Base Armstrong and Al Beatty, and finally, Mango Mask will team with Rudy Cameron.
They recently just added more teams, by the way.
And they added more teams.
Yep.
Shut up.
Plenty of teams.
I'm sorry. I love you, Dan.
Let me find him up. Hang on.
You're ruining my thunder here. I had this all like planned out. I had a segue and everything.
Whatever. Go on.
No, it doesn't matter. Anyway, we'll continue. Anyway, gentlemen's. So, I know there's some teams which haven't been announced on air once Matt finally gets around to it, but...
Oh, no, I found them.
Okay,
right
go
here. On. Okay. Well, we also have the Mega Powers in Hulk Hogan and Lance Miz Savage. Weed the People, Derek Bryson and Gurley.
Mm-hmm.
The Royal
what?
Crusaders. Yeah! Derek Bryson and Gurley, Weed the People.
Oh, wow. This is the
You heard it here
first I've
first,
heard.
bro.
That was the first girl who's heard of it.
Well, you said you wanted it, so I think he did it.
Cool.
What else do we have? The Royal Crusaders with Sir Dan Danielson III and Alex Santos.
Uh-huh.
The favorites to win the tournament, guys. Two strong, independent black women who don't need no man. Fats King and Fatty McYardtard. The Grumpy Old Men, that's Vintage and Herschel Chaim Hebruberg, of course, CNW's most popular tag teams. And in our first, real odd couple pairing, if you don't count Let My Cameron Man Go, DuckTales, Dolan and his murderer Groudon.
Wow.
See, I figured some of those were still in speculation. I wasn't sure whether they were officially confirmed or not, so...
Yep.
So there we go, now we've got those officially confirmed for the first time on air. So, for all of those tag teams, gentlemen's, let's continue. First to Girly this time. What do you think of those teams so far? What did you think of the event last year, and what are you most excited for? And do you have any ideas for any non-tag team matches, Mr. Girly?
Well, wow, this is actually the first I've heard that I'll be teaming with Derry, which is awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. Dolan and Groudon, wow, I didn't think that was actually going to become a team. Hearing all these new official sign-ups, I guess, are just pretty awesome. I was unprepared. Armbar Aerovision last year was my favorite Super Show I think we've done so far. I really, really enjoyed the concept. I was happy to see it back. In terms of matches that aren't any I feel bad because I feel like now I should have one. I'll think about that and I'll try to actually come up with one. I don't know, throw it over to someone else for a second.
Yeah, okay then. TBK, would you like to speak for a bit whilst Girly thinks of a nice little match?
It's actually really cool to see this whole thing come into play. A reminder that, the last Armbar Aerovision is the one that sort of got Pastor Lincoln the huge push that he did today.
It did?
Yes. That he got his push because of the Armbar Aerovision match against a Mr. Groudon.
Uh-huh.
Now then. The team so far, I think that if I had to pick one team out of this I think might just end up winning, I might just go ahead and say Bud Light. It's really interesting to see how this whole team has just jumped in CNW from I don't know, I don't think anyone was really expecting too much. I'm not saying that as any offense to both men, they're both talented. I mean that as much as I don't think anyone would have expected how just hilarious Bud Light is when they first became an actual team in CNW. And now I think they're one of the best teams on the site.
Yeah.
In terms of comedy.
Yeah, coming from, when me and the rest of Mystery Creative were kind of sat there together, we were like, man, we really need something to do with Cold Scorpio and Derek. And then we were kind of like, man, wouldn't it be funny if there were kind of this tag team of just two dudes? And then they just, we put them together and they just worked with it so well. And we were both like, well, just all four of us were just kind of sat there and going like, man, this is so great. Oh my god, they're working with it really well. And then I was going to the other creative guys and going, hey, this is amazing. They're working with the gimmick better than we ever thought they could. And then we were just so hilarious. And I'm really, really glad they've worked so well. And yeah, I also agree. I think they're going to do really well in the tag team tournament. Anything else?
Yeah.
I think I have an idea for a for a match.
Yes.
If it was okay with Starty, if neither of them are booked, what about having Hollywood Candrag versus X-Block in a tuxedo match?
I love
So that X-Block can prove that he can be a gentleman for Donna, and so that Hollywood Candrag can show off his newest expensive suit that he got for being on the news.
Man, if this doesn't happen, I'm going to be really disappointed.
That reminds me, there's actually something I think I can't. Was it Starty that mentioned it? Either way, there's an edit of No Mercy. That's a Smoke the Bong match. The match is a Smoke the Bong. It's in the middle of the ring.
Oh man, I should take Darion in that really bad.
Yeah, if you and Derry get eliminated first round later in the night, you should have Derry versus in a Smoke the Bong match.
I think
Oh man, with Dirk Derrick as special referee.
Oh God, but Dirk Derrick is
Book
referee.
it!
Like, one of you will go to smoke the bong, and there won't be like it'll be all smoked out, and Dirk will be like, how do I count to 3?
No, like we'll be like, all right, where is it? And Dirk will just be hiding underneath the ring.
You'll lift up the apron, and just billows of smoke will pour out and flood the arena.
Chilling with Hornswoggle and Leprechaun Court.
Oh man! So TBK, any ideas for matches which may or may not include illegal drug paraphernalia?
may or may not. Well, that includes both, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, no, that was
That's very, very open. I'm pretty sure I suggested. I do think that Hollywood Candrag should be involved somehow, just because the idea is completely hilarious.
Yeah.
I remember. Hold on a sec. Somebody had a really good idea.
Oh, Hollywood Candrag versus Bollywood Candrag. How about that one? I'm just imagining Bollywood Candrag coming down to the ring to Punjabi MC.
Oh yes, Jinder Mahal versus Charanjit Singh.
Yeah,
Winner gets added by a woman on Facebook was Matt's suggestion. Amazing.
Yes. Yep. The winner of that match gets added by a woman on Facebook, and the swerve is that it's Beardy L transgender.
Ajit Manji, it just is in the corner of one of the men.
Yeah, Hajid is just in the corner of Ginger Mahal.
Oh man, that is great. Anything else, TBK? Any thoughts before we move on to Matt?
I'd say just move on to Matt.
Okay, Matt, your thoughts on the Armbar revision?
Well, I really liked it last year. I thought it was a really fun idea. I'm a big fan of battle bowls if they're handled correctly. And, I mean, just something silly, and just something that, gives two people who would probably never, ever interact.
Sorry, I'd just like to comment as well, it really is a battle ball if Girly and Derry are a team.
God damn it.
Okay,
Wow.
continue.
Anyway. Yeah, I really love those if they're handled right, and it's really cool to see two characters who you'd never think would team or even interact have a chance to interact. Just because, it's pretty funny. Really, yeah.
Yeah, we just get invaded by the Daleks again, just don't mind that.
It happens.
Yes, go on, continue.
And really, I think it's just really, it opens for a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to just all the teams this year. And of course the mystery teams. I'm really hoping for. I have a few mystery teams that I'm hoping get confirmed. Top of my list would be 2 AES cops.
Well, they've got to arrest Arian Gurley.
It'll be like the time that they went to try and arrest Bud Light. If they lose, they get kicked out of the tournament, and no arrests will be made that day.
Terry and Gurley just end up being arrested. They share a jail cell with Stoner the Dave and Wrestle Ranger Green.
One AES cop takes off his hat, and it turns out that he was Wrestle Ranger Green all along.
That's hilarious. So, any other comments?
Just really, it's a lot of fun, is what I think when I think of AES Vision, just to see just all the possible crossovers. And I know it's not canon, but it doesn't really mean it's not fun, because we have Groudon and Dolan, and some. I'm hoping for a nice balance of serious teams and fun teams and exciting winners and surprises and stuff. So I'm happy it's happening.
Excellent. I think we are all happy it's happening. If you're not happy that it's happening, then you're in the wrong place, ladies and gentlemen. This is the kind of fun that you are in for in the Armbar Society. Good for a lot of collection of serious and fun, fun seriousness and serious funness and everything else. So I can't wait for both the Super Show of Armbar Vision and, of course, Golden Triad, which will be coming up at some point. Hopefully. I've heard from OD that it is in production, so speaking of...
I have heard that it might be on Friday.
Friday?
Yes.
Friday? You heard it here first.
That's what OD has told me. I'm not sure, that's the projected date. Golden Triad on Friday.
Shit's about to get real.
Shit is
Golden
about to
Triad
get
on
real.
Friday. Friday, May 3rd.
Yep.
Yeah.
So possibly Saturday. It depends.
Okay.
So Friday or Saturday, that's what the projected date is. I'm sure we'll know, closer to the day.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, really.
Yeah,
Man.
I think we all are. I mean, it's great stuff. And speaking of tag teams now, we can move on to our somewhat related general talk section of this forum. And man, I'm really glad that I could segue it that way. This kind of happened by accident, so gentlemen, I thought of this topic this evening that I'd like to open the floor on, that we can all speak about at great length on. Now, it's completely related to our previous subject, tag teams in wrestling. We are a team of 2 tag teams tonight, in fact, with me and Matt being the men behind Shell, Sweetie, and Erin Toyota, respectively, and Girlyname and TBK being the men behind Phoenix Tag Team Champions Pink and Power. So I think we've got a great selection here. So, gentlemen, if you would, your thoughts on tag teams and E-Feds versus singles competitors, for example, and, just can they be taken seriously? What are some of your favourite tag teams? And, of course, who is your pick to win the Golden Triad? And first off, I'd like to throw it off to Mr. TBK.
Well, when you talk about really good tag teams, only one name stands out. Pink and Power. Look at Girly. He's the one, or she is the one, to have main evented Faggot Mania that those bitches WrestleMania ripped off of. But there's only one Girlyname, and there's only one Faggot Mania. There's only one Rudy Cameron, and there is only one Pink and Power.
I think we accidentally stumbled into a TBK promo.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo.
On the topic of my favorite tag teams, there is a very wide selection in all of AES.
Uh-huh.
I can't even think of just a few names. I've been in a ton of tag teams that I've really enjoyed. Ice Cold Stare. I'm in the current tag team with Matthew Jessup in SAPW. We are the current champions. Yes. United Nations.
That's
Can't wait for that.
Pink and Power. Duckin' BFFs. These are just a few names that I've been in. I've been in a ton. I am just so happy with all the tag teams that we actually have here. ProWrest, for example, one of my favorite tag teams are both the current tag team champions, Ego Tripping Death Squad, as well as the past ones, Dance Party 95.
Yes.
We actually don't have much tag teams within our division, but I'd say that we have just a really, really good amount. We have really good quality ones, like I said, Dance Party 95, Ego Tripping Death Squad. YouTube Comment Commandos are pretty funny. I guess you can count Class Inc., although I'd say that's more of a stable. But yeah, that's just a few names of some of my favorites. As for my pick to win the Golden Triad tournament, gotta say it's gonna go to Class Inc., and not just because I run ProWrest. I really do think that, just like the team of Action Jackson, Miles King, and Superplexing just seems like this ultimate super team to me. I really think that they have the potential to just win it all. Speaking of, I was actually surprised, like how quickly Sir Dan Danielson's gym ended up getting eliminated. I would have thought.
Yeah, I know, right?
I would have thought they actually would have gone to the finals. But at the same time, I really enjoy the Grand Triad Tournament, Golden Triad Tournament, blah. And I'm really looking forward to Night 3. Anyways, I'm going to pass this over to
Matt.
Mr. Dan Danielson, or Matt.
Me, yes, Matt. Your thoughts on
Both
the
of us.
tag teams and the Golden Triad and everything else that I just asked, and I'm going to sneeze again, so I'm going to mute my mic. Go!
Okay, well, I love tag teams, really. I much prefer doing them to singles in a lot of cases just because it's really fun to bounce off of someone. I mean, I love doing singles as well, but when you have a really good storyline and just a really good partner to work with, it's just a blast, really. Just my entire time in AES, I've been involved with mostly tag teams, really. I came in as Action Jackson, and then just immediately Miles King and I hit it off, and we created, what is now known as Class Inc.
I love, by the way, you can take that sentence out of context and you and Miles hit it off and it could be taken as something else.
We hit it off. We started going dating, and we announced our marriage next month. We will be moving into a nice white house in a little town in France.
What's wrong with the Black House, Matt? Racist. Why is it the White House has to be the nice one?
The honky house.
Continue.
But really,
we have a black president. Okay, I'm done.
Once we've finished with the subtle racism on this podcast, you've got to get us removed from iTunes. Matt, tag teams, please.
Tag teams, yeah. And Dance Party 95 has been a lot of fun to work with, even though it's been really a solo venture, but it's just still fun to have two characters to bounce off of each other. In terms of favorite tag teams, it's great to see Pink and Power and Ego Tripping Death Squad back, but I'm also a big fan of, man, who were awesome? The Wild Ones. Those were just, man, I don't know. Something about that tag team just out of nowhere, man. They just came out of nowhere and just won me over so much. They were awesome. I miss them.
Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot about them.
The Wild Ones are really great just because I think the idea of them were there was supposed to be this 80s rock and roll tag team. And they really were. They just kind of embodied that and they took it on and did such a good job of that. And I think in the future, if there is ever an opportunity for the Wild Ones to return, then yes, that would be pretty great.
Yep.
So, anything else you would like to add?
In terms of Golden Triad, obviously I want Class Inc. to win.
Of course.
Of course, got to pull for myself and the best stable, but it's been a fantastic event all the way down, and really just the right people are in the finals. I can't wait to see who wins. It could be anyone, really, and that's what's really exciting.
Excellent. So, if you were done then, lastly, sorry, I've somehow come up with a cold halfway through this podcast. Lastly, Girly, your thoughts on tag teams, sir?
Well, I think that AES probably has the tag team scene on the entire site has just been something that's so fun to watch. Me having Girly active again and being with Rudy, first of all, has been really great because we never have had a point that we could actually just be Pink and Power. When we were in WWA, Rudy was, and I don't mean this in any kind of, being a dick or anything, but the Rudy character was more of kind of Girly's sidekick than anything. And WWA, that really changed. Rudy started kind of establishing himself as his own person. ProRes, I really liked seeing him develop, and I kind of pushed him a little too hard there to begin with. But now that the Rudy character has really become something that is on his own, such a fantastic character. He isn't seen as just he isn't just the Pink and Power Rudy anymore. Now he's Dr. Midcard. He's really it's been one of my favorite developments, and so to get to team with him again in Phoenix, I'm really excited about it. In terms of my favorite tag teams on AES, Dance Party 95 is by far my favorite tag team on the entire site. Really, Matt, you, with all your characters, I think that you do a really great job in terms of putting a lot of character into them. All your personalities are so diverse, and with Dance Party 95, it's just the ultimate fun guys that you want to root for. I don't know how, them being heels is, something of alternate universe to me because they're just such fun characters. I'm actually really excited to see you and Dan work with Shell, Sweetie, and Aaron because I'm a big fan of odd couples that kind of turn into something big.
Right.
And I think that with, I'm not really sure what's going to happen with Shell and Aaron, but, Aaron kind of being taken and focused solely onto Rose for this, it brings the idea that this is going to be a very big, very fun storyline. So I'm really looking forward to that. In terms of Golden Triad, I think Class Inc. is going to win only because I book ProRes.
No favoritism involved here.
No, I'd really like to see Class Inc. win, but I don't know. Team Rose is Team Rose kind of from the start of this looked like it might take it to me just because it's it's so different than everything else, and it immediately is, I don't know. I really I think Team Rose is probably the people to watch now that we're so close to the end.
Okay.
To add one last name that I forgot about, I do want to mention Soviet Outback.
Isn't the Soviet Outback so good?
I know, I loved them, just like back in old WWA. And a funny story, I should mention it while we're still on the topic of just like old WWA stories. Back when he first came on the site, Sean, with his characters Victor, Zangief, and Raiden, literally in the site, thought that the two were run by completely different people, but no, it was Sean.
Yeah, like when it came out that Geef and Raiden were run by the same guy, just literally everyone was just like, "Wait, what?" I remember it very clearly because like we were talking in the general discussion thread, and sometimes Geef would post and sometimes Raiden would post, and just one time Geef posted and it was like, how did my guys do? And I'm also Raiden if you didn't know, and everyone was like, "What? No, dude, what?" It was almost a bigger shock to the site back then as finding out that I wasn't black,
or finding out that Girly wasn't a girl.
Yeah, I learned all of those within the same day. I learned all of those in the same day because I remember all in some tiny chat, and Matt came on and he was white, and then Girly came on and he wasn't a dude, and Girly found out I was British and he didn't think it was real. He thought it was a gimmick. Excuse me, sorry.
The shocking thing is, AES is full of people who are simultaneously exactly what they say they are and not.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, I just sneezed. Yeah, so Girly was really shocked to find out I was British, and then, I was shocked to find out Sean that was both Ryan and Zangief, so we are a diverse group of people, so yeah, anything else from any of you? Sorry, I keep muting my mic because I keep needing to sneeze. On the subject of tag teams? Any tag teams you would like to see?
I'd like to see?
I'd
Really,
like to
I
see
think
Saffron
anybody-
get a real run.
Yeah,
sorry.
exactly that. I would like to see... I know it's like my own characters, but at the same time, I just really, really enjoyed doing Saffron promos. We've done a few, but it would be nice to have just like one actual run.
Just Saffron has been a blast. It's really a shame that we've never really had a chance to really have a proper run together as Saffron.
And also, it would be interesting if one day Taiki was to reunite as a full tag team.
Well,
Yes.
Geef kind of. Yeah, that would be pretty cool when Geef comes out of retirement. No, with Tai-Fi and Michael Elgin Geef. just when that happened in Derry's OWW Fed, that was hilarious. Just, sorry guys, we couldn't afford to bring Zangief out of retirement, so instead we hired ROH superstar Michael L, and then it just cuts to the match where a guy dressed as Fat Zangief is facing Club Scorpio.
Man, so I think we're all done, aren't we? In terms of tag teams, anything else?
No, I think
good.
All right, okay then. I think we can move on to this questions section of the forum. I guess I keep calling this a forum.
Podcast.
Forum. So I'd like to take a question first off from Joe Vader on Twitter. When is it appropriate, if ever, to introduce a love interest into an angle, and is using love a good idea in our business?
Well, I have.
Yeah, I know who would like to answer this question, so go for it.
I think that it can be used very effectively, and it can also be used terribly. I have a problem with people who shoehorn it in or just do it for the sake of it, and it's really terrible, honestly, because it can really derail a lot of characters. However, if you manage to use it effectively, it can be great. You just need to remember that, with a love interest, it needs to be an angle. Like, it needs to be an angle, or something important for character development, Remember that you should always be focusing on the on-screen product somehow, Like,
Yeah, and
we've seen.
I'd like to use an example of, like, in terms of WWE, everyone knows that Randy Orton has a wife, but the only time it's ever brought up is when it's part of the storyline.
Right. But then, it's also cool to have things like, for example, Super and Suplexington,
Right. Which is
we know that
something
they're
minor,
husband and
but-
wife. But, it's just minor, but it's something that, ties the two characters together, and they're also seen interacting. It gives both characters character.
Right, depth.
Depth. Yeah, it gives them depth. But really, I think, with love interests in general, they just need to be at least somewhat developed before it just happens, And just happening is just, and it's hard to buy, I mean, seriously, how many times in real life do you see, I don't know, man, maybe it's just me, but I think these things take time, at least a little bit, to really work out.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's
I
one of
agree
those things we just
completely.
kind of get the blessing of fiction to go with, so...
Yeah, and I can deal with that, obviously with fiction, we have some things, but it's just kind of when everyone's just shacking up with someone and none of it's affecting the on-screen product, it just gets a little...
Too much?
Yeah, too much.
Right.
But then if you have a character that, is a part of your character's backstory or character depth, I'll use Maria Gibson as an example. When Ron Gibson returned to wrestling, her AES, it turned out that he had a wife or married, and it became part of his character. It gave him someone to play off of.
Right.
That's an example of doing it right. Having someone to play off of, a character in their personal life, who is being used as a character.
Yes. Okay. Any thoughts from Eric on that question?
I can't really think of anything that hasn't been said by Matt. Just like you said, if you're not going to do it for either storyline purposes or to further character development, what's the point?
Yeah.
Just keep it to those requirements. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot you can do with a love interest in character development or in a proper angle. It really is.
Exactly.
You just need to do it right.
Girly, do you have any thoughts?
I kind of disagree. I just think it's as important as you want it to be to your character is as much effort as you want to put into it. If it's just something that you're doing for fun with the character, just to do it, if it never needs to be brought up on the on-screen product, it's just like maybe a Twitter thing or something, that's no big deal, I don't think. When you're talking about actually having a relationship on the show, then yeah, no, I see what you mean. There needs to be some kind of vision for where the relationship's going to take the characters and what it's eventually going to lead them into. But if it's just for fun because you want to do something with your character, I don't know. I don't really think that it's a big deal. But that's just me.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the main sentiment that Matt has, and I think TBK has, and me as well, is just the fact that just a lot of people are just like, well, not a lot of people, I mean, I've just kind of seen it where it's just like, okay, relationship next, bang.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of got around that. A lot of people were kind of in that mindset for a while, and then once we got past that, I think it's been handled a lot better.
It was a new fun thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I think what it was. Like when when Amber and Hyper was going on, just everyone wanted to get on the relationship train, which fair enough, but it was just kind of the new, we can do this to try and flesh out our characters, and there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some whatever, and it all just took, I think, just some kind of getting over a few speed bumps, and where we are now, I think, is really good.
Yeah, and I think as well this also happened at the same time that everyone started using Twitter.
Yeah, and it just kind of, just there were a lot of new things going on.
Yeah, excuse me. Wow. Sorry, I just got really sick during this. Okay, so moving on. I'd just like to mention as well, Joe Vader asked another couple of questions. I'll just answer this one. Joe he asked what our opinion on Ribbon is, and he linked to the video of when Daniel Bryan's having the match with William Regal, and William Regal comes out to Real Man's Man. I was there for that live. I was there when that happened. I was in the crowd. It was an amazing match, and the start I died, and it was pretty great. And my friend was there who hadn't seen wrestling in years, and he was like, he didn't understand why it was hilarious, and I had to explain why. I was like, this used to be William Regal's music when he had the Bob the Builder gimmick, and he was like, what?
Bob the Builder?
Yeah, he had the Bob the Builder gimmick.
Is there nobody on AES with a Bob the Builder gimmick?
No.
Oh my gosh, I hope no one beats me to it.
Looks like we have Girly's Cole Scorpio Fed character.
He's a man.
Yeah.
But
I actually can tell you who I'm going to be using in that Fed. Grover Tatum.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
For the DVDs.
Yes.
For the DVDs. Nothing after that, I don't think.
Okay.
Nice.
Either way, I am excited knowing what you've got in store for that. And okay, so opinion on Ribbon and E-Feds. Have you guys have any stories or anything like that?
How do you like cookies? Bad.
I don't like it. I don't like it anymore. I think we've just moved past that. I just don't think it's professional. I don't think it's really great, and it can kind of harm characters as well.
Right.
Case in point, I mean, I hate to bring it up, but there was a lot of quote-unquote ribbing in MWAT. You know, especially in response to
Yes.
Derek Bryson's theme.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, replacing it with stupid song. Man, I hate how incredibly catchy that song is because it's really horrible. But yeah, replacing the theme with that. And, like, at the time, you know, AES was in a place where everyone's like, it's funny. But looking back, it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
You know, especially if the guy is trying to, you know, be better. Like, it's just, it's just really petty and unprofessional, I think. And, like, you know, for that little bit of, this is funny, then you have a whole kind of...
Especially when you're trying to take the character seriously as well.
Yeah, it can harm a character.
Right.
Like,
If it's done in a way where the person who does the character thinks it's funny and it doesn't hurt the character, then yeah, but no, I see what you're saying.
God damn it, not Tensai.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Click on Twitter if you're on that. Click on the most recent reply to Armbar Air Society.
Oh boy, I'm clicking.
Jobber Bob the Builder.
Jobber Bob the Builder.
Excellent.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, you got beat to it.
Anyway,
yes,
ribbing.
continue. If it doesn't affect the character.
Huh? Oh no, that was it.
No, that was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, great say though. Don't worry.
TBK, do you have
TBK? Yes.
Nothing particularly on ribbing. I think, like in eFed dub, if when it's like actually funny, maybe. But what he did in like MWAT was just completely not funny. I don't think that should be brought up.
Right.
Just like there's mean-spirited ones, and then there's ones that are just kind of for fun. And really, the mean-spirited ones are the ones I totally agree should not have a place at all. And then the ones that are just sort of good fun, like say, there's a really good example, but I can't think of it. But yeah, something.
I think one. I'm not even sure I'd class it as ribbing. If we remember WFL's first, like the World Championship match,
Yeah, I have a feeling.
where
Bring this up.
where Derry like entered with just his crazy gear, you know, and the implication was that he had just come from a wild party. Like that fit the gimmick, you know,
Right.
what his gimmick was at the time,
Right.
and it was also funny. And he was treated well because then he became the first world champion.
Yeah, and I mean, like, to use an example, what we did recently was Coated Owl's bit with the bike and having Derek Bryson be on the back of it and everything else.
Yeah,
All right. In addition, I would also say El Hijo del Ta.
Right.
The character started out as sort of just like a joke, but we are well, he's a champion now, so
Yeah, like the character started as kind of a joke, but then it was never meant to be treated like an actual shot. It was just supposed to be kind of funny.
Yeah,
And then and then the guy comes back and he
Yeah.
sees it and he's like, "Hey, this is funny."
Yeah.
You know, and I'm sure if he had said, "Look, I don't like this. I'm offended," then you would have just nixed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
exactly, we would.
because we're not in here to run each other down.
Yeah, most definitely not.
Yeah.
And I mean, like you say, Dustin Delta Fair was funny, it was in good taste, so that's pretty much just a good example of where something can go well. So, next question from Nico, which is also known as the Cast King. Will Empire eventually have a bit more of a spotlight?
I don't know. I
Like-
think it works really well as just sort of the pre-show to Pro Res. I'd ask Girly about that, but that's just my thoughts.
Gilly?
Empire, no. No, in terms of it's not ever going to have like it's always just going to be before the show. and it's always just going to be about one or two matches. It's really just there to introduce characters, help them kind of find something to do, bring people in. However, someday I'd actually like to do like an Empire Showcase kind of thing, like a whole like 1 hour Empire show someday. But I don't know when that's going to happen. I know that TBK had a couple ideas for Empire that I don't know if he wants me to get into, because I don't know if he's still going to do them or if they're spoilery. But I know that he had some ideas that would kind of showcase groups of characters in Empire a little better.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'd say we should probably just keep that in our back pocket just in case.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, you don't have to go into any more detail than you need to. Okay, so next question. I am going to just scroll up.
My favorite question is at Brolita AES.
Yes, at Brolita.
I miss your Tensei.
Favorite crisp flavor, McCoy's beef, maybe. I'm not sure if any of you fellas know what McCoy's is, but it's
barbecue ribs. Nah, I actually don't know what it is. I just googled it.
It's like a brand of like very not expensive but just kind of high quality pub crisps.
Yeah, they're basically chips. I know that.
Yeah. Who is the panel's OTP?
Damn it, Joe Vader. He sent this how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times.
Okay, so all right. Okay, let's put a serious spin on this.
What's the question?
It's our OTP, which I think is our favorite kind of romantic relationship in AES.
Yeah, my favorite
is that
relationship.
Current or of all time?
I'll call it.
Let's just say all time.
Yeah, all time. Okay. Obviously, there's Hyper Amber, which I think is the main one, which kind of got people going. I also do like Cade and Richie. I really do like how that's kind of evolved from. It started as something kind of simple and something kind of strange, and now it's evolved into something that's really. It's spanned across a lot of places, and it's worked really, really well.
Oh yeah, now that's the idea, like, of how to take a relationship which I'll admit was a little shaky at first. I still don't totally understand how it happened, but it just became this huge part of both characters that just really worked well for both characters and just gave them some awesome character development.
Yes.
Absolutely, definitely. Really just helped Richie kind of move forward into his next stage of character evolution, which was awesome.
Eric, TBK?
I would say, yeah, Super Blizzard. Is that not Super Blizzard?
Hyper.
Hyper Blizzard and Amber were really fun. I'm kind of interested because I think both Tiffy and Sean are doing something with Amber and Earl Lockhart, which seems pretty interesting. And in addition, I'm really happy for the promos that are going on right now with Dels and Tiffy. They're actually really well done. The whole Edward and Emily. I'm actually not... I wasn't too sure at first when I first heard of it, but...
yeah.
Okay, it's Lockwood, I'm sorry. But yeah, I wasn't too sure of it the first time it happened, but they seem to have somewhere they're going with it, and I'm really liking where it will be going, so hopefully... Wrong answer, Starty plus Joe Vader. OTP.
Okay, Girly?
Oh man, Girly and Raging Rick Lewis. No, my favorite relationship is one that's going to happen in the future. It's going to be Rematch Jackson and El Beardy Transgender, and he is going to freak out at the end of the date.
I remember when Baghead and Beardy L Transgender was a thing, and then like the main idea was just everyone actually thought that it was just like some rib at Beardy, but it actually didn't work out because Beardy actually ended up thinking it was hilarious.
Yeah, that's just how Beardy goes.
The thing is, apparently, the reason for it was apparently Munch heard the idea that Beardy had for him during
Oh,
the end
God.
of WWA. Should we mention that on the podcast?
Yeah, dude, tell them.
Okay, so it was kind of a stupid idea, but once Munchman signed up to WWA, L. Beardy was going to slowly put more and more girls' clothes on him every single show until eventually he becomes Munch Woman. And his gimmick is a transvestite.
I saw the cause. They
it was
were
a-
hilarious.
I never heard of this.
That's hilarious, man.
Okay,
I should
granted,
rib Beardy. I should have Beardy come out with overalls next show. Just never mention it again.
I don't think it works if you tell people that you're going to rib them.
I don't think Beardy's listening.
No,
He's-
he's,
He's too busy sleeping.
Yeah. He's probably listening. He's got his earbuds in while he's asleep. He'll go, "Ooh," he'll wake up and he'll be like, shit. Okay, moving on from transgenders into intergenders. Question from Tiffy Lockhart. Just because thoughts on intergender wrestling e/real?
by
I think
intergender,
it-
you mean like
Male
tag
on
team matches
female.
or males wrestling females?
I guess male on female. I'll answer for Tiffy since he's not here.
Yeah, no problem.
Honestly, I think it's pretty good. Sarah Del Rey was terrific in
Yes.
the independent scene because she could wrestle like a male, and you'd believe that she could win easily. Same goes for Karma, obviously,
Yeah.
also known as Awesome Kong, Amazing Kong.
Uh-huh.
They're both two just terrific indie women. I would say would be perfect for that.
No, in e-wrestling, I mean, of course, like, I see no problem with it. Really? I mean, we're all just characters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Of course, being a good example of that being Laura Brennan, who's someone who's done a lot of intergender stuff for a very long time.
Yeah, or, well, even Girly.
Yeah, and Girly
You know,
as well.
in WWA, Girly, yeah.
Of
Yeah, they
course.
were, no problems, really.
Yeah, I think it's just something that's a barrier that we can kind of, we can get over just because we're e-feds and there's that much more.
Yeah, that's the one thing that e-feds are really, really good for, in that, we can just kind of move on.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of, like, the egos and things, because everyone understands that we're all just characters.
Uh-huh.
I do think, though, it works better in some feds and games than others.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good in No Mercy, really good in Fire Pro. WWE 13, well, one, you have to hack the game for it to even be possible. And two, it's, like, I don't know, weird physics and stuff.
Yeah, basically W13, the female models are just a lot smaller than the male ones for no particular reason.
Yeah, so it's less kind of believable and a little less... Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
so speaking of Laura Brennan and Winans and Girly, actually, early predictions for Girly's opponents on Rose 18.
Man, I don't know. Wasn't because if it's Laura Brennan, because she does have the contendership match,
Yes.
but I guess that's happening at the pay-per-view.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Well, I mean, she's number one contender, so it makes sense for it to happen at 18.
yeah, but they also said there was something to be announced regarding the championship at the beginning of the show. So
Oh wow!
Oh,
from what
Well,
I've heard-
clearly it's going to be one of the greatest superstars, former number one contender for the CNW Heavyweight Champion,
God damn it!
Sure.
I was going to bring him up right in that second. Actually, I was gonna say
Mango Mask,
Woman.
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Mango
Mango Woman.
Manget.
Manget.
You want Manget?
It's actually just Lupe
Mango
Chavez.
Mask. I mean, he has
Lupe
sold the
Chavez in a
most
mango
merch.
mask.
He has sold the most merch out of anyone in AES. I'm just saying that's a factual statement.
It is.
Wait,
Been
really?
mentioning-
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a mango.
No,
mask.
no. You didn't make.
No, I made it. Shut up, Dan.
I
You made the
designed it.
original design. You wouldn't let me finish my sentence. You made the original design on the call. I made the shirt. And then Josh.
It's also
Made it-
worth
I made it
mentioning that Mr. Juan Cortez is the only
Shooting
man
brother.
to have ever pinned Mango Mask. Just saying. Mango Mask had been previously undefeated until then.
Undefeated because he died before he could wrestle a match.
Mango Mask had been undefeated before then,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I'm sorry, I dozed off for a second. Go
it's
on.
cool, bro. Anything else? I assume Girly already knows, so I'm not going to ask him. He's laughing. I get. I'll tell you that's a yes. Okay. One last go. Any more questions?
Should we actually do the hottest AES character if nobody else responds?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
The characters.
Yeah. They're characters. I can't see them like that.
The Mighty Inferno is my favorite.
Yeah, the
the
Mighty
Mighty Inferno
Inferno
is the hottest one, I'd say.
You guys have no imagination. I can name like 15.
What? So
Actually,
it's like
my
rating...
favorite is Big Tex Johnson. He's just so
Yeah.
manly.
Just Big Tex Johnson, man.
Big Tex. They call him Big Tex for a reason.
Dude.
Yeah, because he has a really big hat.
Okay. I think we're all good. I think we're all good for questions.
And
so,
it's good.
yeah, there is a good question there from Joe Vader, but I'm going to save it for next time because I think we're about done. We've gone a bit further over than we usually do because of the extra guests on this show. So, okay, I think that's all we're going to go for. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter at Armbar eSociety for all AS-related updates. Drive safely, and good night.
Goodbye, all you
Bye.
sexy people out there. I love you. Especially